B. How are you? I am well. Thanks for asking. I know you asked, so let me answer you. I'm well. Thank you so much. In life, the people we keep around us can help us be who we want to be. They can help us grow or they can break us. They can help us better our finances or they can push us, help us, in fact, drive us into poverty. We are going to learn how to grow our wealth with those around us, networking to grow wealth. And our guest today is not a stranger. I told you this lady, when anything about money, you just call her and she will just pour out all what you need to do about money. She's not a stranger. Um, she's a counselor. We spoke in our last video. We spoke about pre and post financial counseling, and she graced us. She poured out so much, a lot of information. If you've not watched that video, please go watch it. I'll leave a link in the description box. Please watch it and learn. We are privileged to have her one more time to share with us how to grow our wealth through networking. Join me as I welcome Miss Jennifer. Is it Achaa or say?
Yes.
Yay! Welcome once again. It's always
Yes.
nice to have you around.
Thank you.
Oh, and you're looking good.
Oh, you too. You're looking so good. Thank you.
Ooh. So, guys, like I said, we are going to talk about networking to grow wealth. Okay, wealth. Yes. So, my counselor, what does networking means, and why do people even need to network in their life?
Okay. So thank you for having me again. I'm happy to be here. When we talk about networking, it's basically, the associations that you build, the kind of people that are around you, your friends, your family, the social connections that you build. That is what we call networking. And currently, when we look at the world, social capital is becoming a very big thing. Social capital has always been a big thing, but now it's becoming bigger, and that's because people are beginning to understand that there are certain places that, if not for the fact that you knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody, you would never go there. You would never, be ushered into such a place. And people are also beginning to understand that there are easier ways to do things if you knew somebody, who could help you out. So a quick example is that I've had people who were late for their flight, right? So I had this I know somebody that she said she was late for her flight and she was in the traffic, and because they had to be on that flight. So she called somebody at the airport, and because they knew somebody at the airport, they found a way to delay the flight to make
Wow.
sure that, yes, and things like that are happening. And we know that even when it comes to career wise, you probably know someone or your parents know someone, and they'll call and say, oh, my daughter, she has a degree in this, she needs to do this, and we're trying to get her to do this. Do you have any vacancies? Of course, networking basically puts you in a certain circle where it's not just about you benefiting or being a sycophant or leeching off of people. And
Mm-hmm.
networking is not the same as nepotism or people putting their family and friends in positions and stuff like that. No. Networking basically means that the people around you, it's not like you're taking advantage of them, but you're trying to support and help each other in ways that you have an advantage. So maybe if you have an advantage in, say, oh, let's even use each other as an example. I am a chartered accountant. If you need financial advice, you can say that, oh, I know HR, she can give me advice on this investment strategy, or she can introduce me to some shares of some sort. If I need something about media advice, I would come to you because you're in my circle. But what if I didn't have anybody like that in my circle? It means that I have to then go and pay somebody else to help me out and all of that. So networking basically is you trying to build a circle where you are going to grow together, you're going to benefit from each other, and you're going to learn from each other and help each other. That's what networking represents.
Mm, wow. Um, how does our mindset, okay, how does one's mindset affect the kind of network they have to build around them?
Okay. So, we all have a certain way that we envision our future to be. So sometimes, people think about the fact that in the next 2, 3 years, I want to be done with my schooling. I want to be working in this organization. I want to be making this type of income. Maybe I want to be traveling around and all of that. Your mindset and the way you envision your future is what feeds how you build your networks. Now, again, networks are built right from where you're growing up. Okay. So, we all went to kindergarten, we all went to crèche, we have our mates from school and all of that. But when you're growing up and when you get to a certain point in life, you begin to build your networks more consciously.
Yep.
So, people say that life would give you people, would give you things, but at some point you need to be conscious and says that if life gives me this thing, I don't want it. I want to be consciously able to choose this thing. Or if life gives me this person, I don't want that person, I want another person. So when you get to the point where you're mature enough to be able to choose the people around you, that's when you should begin the consideration of what do I envision my future to be, right? The type of mindset that you carry should feed the type of networks that you should have. And we know that we all have different types of mindsets. Like we have religious mindsets, we have societal mindsets, we have things that we've been taught that we believe in. Okay. So if you, for instance, if you want to have, let me just use my background of finances again. You want, in the next 2, 3 years, you want to be financially free. You don't want to be in debt in the next 2, 3 years. It means you don't surround yourself with people whose mindset is that you only live once. So every time you get money, you should blow the money.
Joy.
Exactly. So your mindset rather feed you on the way you choose the people around you. It feeds you on, okay, I've met this person, maybe we are friends, maybe in a social way. And we meet people every day, even when you go to church, when you go to school. Sometimes people you already know, maybe you've not really spoken to them before. But maybe you start having a conversation and realize that, okay, this person's mindset is very progressive. I want this person to be in my circle. I want to learn from this person. I want to grow from this person. It's exactly in that same way. So your mindset should be built that, okay, you should assess yourself and say that, what is my mindset? What am I looking forward to in the next 2, 3 years? And what kind of people should be in my mind, in my circle to be able to encourage this agenda, right? And if you have people, within your circle who, if you have someone who is an idea generator and you have people in your circle, and every time you bring up an idea, they shoot it down, it should tell you that the kind of network you have or the type of circle you have, it's maybe problematic to you because if they don't try to even understand the idea you've brought and they just go like, this idea will not work and all of that, then you need to assess. So your mindset is a big determinant of understanding the type of circle that you want to build and the type of circle that you should have. Yeah.
Yeah. In a way, I think it also helps eliminate some people.
Exactly, exactly. It helps you to eliminate and say that, this person is not really good for the kind of future I'm looking at, or even for my present life. This
Mm-hmm.
person is not good. Like we know that, of course, in the whole world, children face a lot of peer pressure and, being encouraged to do things that you don't necessarily should not be doing. And it's because of the kind of networks that you have around you. So if you have, your children, the people that visit, even children, where do they go to? Do they go to the library or they're always going out to, just do a lot of stuff that is unnecessary? Because we have children who have been influenced by their friends to say, let's go and rob a store, or
Yeah.
let's go and shoplift a store, or I've seen this place where we can go and we can get free alcohol. What kind of networks you, because your networks also influence your behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and it influences your character and it influences your decisions. So how your mindset is would also help you decide the other people who should be in your circle, because you don't want being influenced by something that maybe is wrong, or you feel like this thing that I'm doing it's not really going to help my future and all of that. But you're still in there just because of the people around you. So, it helps you to eliminate as well, just like you said. Yes, definitely.
So then, how does one really create the network to grow their wealth?
Yes. So, like I said, life gives you people. So when we are growing up, we all have people in our lives from kindergarten. Yesterday, I went to visit a friend, and his mom came in and said, "Hey, madam, it's been a long time I saw you." And they were having conversations. And at some point, we're talking about the fact that we've known each other since we were 4 years old, from kindergarten, from KG1. And his mom was like, "Hey, you people, you've been friends since, right?" So life gives you people, right? When you're growing up, you keep some of these people because you realize that these people have become, you've become bonded with them, you've become attached to them. There are some friends that you know that you will never let go of them. But when you're growing up, how do you build your networks? When you're growing up, because of the fact that you're now mature and you're now taking decisions that you would not have taken as a child, you then need to be more conscious about the kind of circle you're building. So, how do you build your circle? You have to determine that, because of the fact that I'm looking forward to a future, or in the next 5 years, maybe I want to set up a company or something. What are the type of people I need to set up this company with, right? You can then search within the friends you have already and say that maybe this my friend is a doctor, this my friend is a lawyer, maybe this my friend is in the media like you. If I want to start my YouTube channel in the next 1 year, I'm like, oh yeah, mommy, she already knows the thing, she can help me with it, right? But the consciousness is what you need in building your circle as you mature. And I think science says that the human brain does not fully mature until you're 25 and above. So when your brain is fully mature, and if you're utilizing your fully matured brain, you realize that if you will live for the next 40, 50 years, there's a certain type of life you want to live. So what kind of people do you want to have in your circle? It could be as simple as having people in your circle that you have intellectual conversations with. So if you say that, well, I like to have intellectual conversations about finances, about politics, about entertainment, and you realize that everybody in your circle, the conversation is always around gossiping about some celebrity,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe gossiping about someone's life, something that you would find is not worthwhile. What do you then do? Do you still continue to keep these people in your circle because you want to have intellectual conversations? You want to plan trips to maybe museums, or you want to travel outside where you live to go and have experiences. But these people are always telling you that, for this country, they are bad, we can't go there. The consciousness is what you need to build your circle to create wealth. And I'm going to explain what I mean when I say networking to create wealth. What do we mean when we say networking to create wealth, right? I would explain. I think you would ask me about it at some point, but I want to just say that whatever circle that you have, it determines your future. It doesn't necessarily mean that they would decide the kind of path you should be on for the future. It just determines that, again, there's this common saying that show me your friends and I will show you your character. I think it was a saying they used to say when I was young. But the point is that, again, it may not necessarily influence your character or anything, but it tells you the kind of thought patterns you have, the kind of mindset you have, the kind of possible behaviors that you have. So you should always make sure that in building your networks, your mindset and the consciousness. If you're not conscious, you cannot network to create wealth. Yeah.
Be conscious with the people
Yes.
around you.
Yes.
How does our traditional and cultural way affect the way people network?
Okay. So depending on where you're coming from, everybody grew up in a certain dispensation, a certain society, right? A certain culture. And there is a way that people even associate with each other. A very simple example. I have worked in a lot of multinational companies, right? Now you realize that in these multinational companies, everybody refers to each other by their first names.
Yeah,
Even if the person is 90 years, you will see people calling people, oh, Bob, Michael, what's up? But in our African culture, you dare not call your sister. Your sister may be even 3 months older than you, safe.
please
You
add
cannot just. Exactly. So again, these cultures affect the way we network because you realize that in our part of the world, before now, it was difficult for a young person to network with an old person because there is that kind of gap. There is that kind of respect boundary that has been placed there. So you're told that you can't call this person by their name, you can't get close to this person, you can't learn from this person, you can't speak to this person, and all of that. So traditionally and culturally, we network by how we were raised and how we were indoctrinated. And so for me, I am a big encourager of dropping a lot of traditional, religious, and cultural constructs. It doesn't mean leave your religion or leave your church. It just says that you should question some of these things that have been put to you. If you tell me that I can't call someone by their first name, why? I'm not being disrespectful. My intention is not disrespectful. It's because we are all within the same career space. So, so traditionally and culturally, definitely how you have been raised, the kind of indoctrinations you've been fed with, the kind of beliefs you have, from the religious angle and all of that, it feeds the kind of way you network. And let me chip in this quickly before we move on to the question about how to use networking to create wealth. So I always even tell people that when it comes to believing about the fact that where do human beings come from, who created us, and all of that, the relationship you have with whoever you believe to be your creator is also a networking skill. The way you see God, or the way you see Allah, or the way you see the deity on the other side, it feeds the way your relationship is with them. If you see God to be this old guy who is waiting to punish you, if you do something wrong, they're waiting to punish you. There's a way you talk to them, there's a way you network with them, there's a way you have that friendship with them. If you see God as your friend, there's a way you network with them. If you see God as your mother or your father, there's a way you network with them. So again, your mindset, the tradition, the culture, the beliefs, it feeds the way you network with people. If you see people and you think that the only way I can network with this person is if I become a bootlegger, or if I become a sycophant, or if I'm always, even if when this person is wrong, I will not say it, because if I say it, this person will not be my friend again. Then it feeds the way you build the relationship. But if traditionally you see everybody to see, oh, I can learn from this person, or maybe I have a knowledge that I can share with this person, then it takes away all those traditional and cultural and religious mentalities, and you're able to build proper networks. That is not about leeching off of the person. Yes. So, traditionally and culturally, there are rules, but you need to be able to go past these rules to be able to network properly to create wealth. Yeah.
Initially, when you were speaking, at some point in time, you can't carry all the people with us
Mhm.
at some
Yeah.
stage, because you find yourself in a stage where you'll be talking about something, and then they would, maybe you meet an old friend, you're talking about the future, and the person is always referring to secondary school life, to old days. Is it wrong? One feel guilty when they get to a certain stage in their life and then they have to drop some people. Should they
Yeah.
feel guilty?
No, a lot of people believe that in life you need so many people in your life, you need so many friends. I have so many friends. You need so many people in your corner to be happy or to live your life or to even create wealth. But sometimes, most of the time, you don't. Okay. There is a difference between the quantity and the quality of the networks that you have. So you can know 100 people, but all these 100 people, what type of conversations do you have with them? What type of progress have you made with them? What kind of ideas have you shared that have become money decisions that have helped you create wealth, right? Or you cannot just three people. And every day, or every week, the three of you sit down and say, Charlie, this week, this is what went on in my life. Maybe emotionally, I'm not feeling okay. And the three of you can support each other. Maybe psychologically, I'm not okay. You can support each other financially. All of you are there for each other. You have conversations about the future. Which of these two, situations is better? Is it the 100 people that you're always gossiping and talking about unnecessary stuff, or is it the three people, right? So you need to be able to have that thing where you are able to dissociate from certain friendships or associations or networks that you know that, look, this kind of thing that we are doing is not making sense, because people place so much emphasis on having romantic relationships, but people don't assess the quality of their normal associations, which is their normal friends, their normal acquaintances. So just the way we are able to say that this romantic relationship is not going well, this person does not treat me well, this person does not care about me, so I want to break up or I want to leave the person. It should be the same with friendships. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you stop talking to them or you take them out of your life. It just means that you're more.
Oh, um, sorry guys. I think her network is.
I don't want this direction of conversations,
Mm.
right? So I want to change the directions of our conversations. But you realize that the other person is not responding. They are saying that I still want to be talking about this secondary school stuff. I still want to be gossiping. I still want to be talking about things that don't bring any benefit. Then you should be able to define and say that, well, I'll still keep you as my friend, just that now, not, involve myself in these conversations because it's not going anywhere, right? So you need to be conscious about that. And you definitely don't need to feel guilty about it. Sometimes you have to cut people off completely if you realize that this yes,
Well,
sometimes, if it's necessary, you just have to cut the people off. But if you realize that, oh, I still need this person in my life because in a way they are beneficial, they're my friend, just that I want to go in this direction and they don't want to, then you need to redefine the conversations and redirect the conversations to see what the person's mindset is about those things and how you can benefit or how you can help. Yeah.
I'm told it's always lonely at the top. So, how is it, first of all, is it really, really, really lonely at the top? And how can you carry other people along with you so you make it financially?
Yes, it is lonely for most people at the top. And that's because people don't learn to carry their squad along, right? One of the reasons why it is lonely at the top is because there is, in our current generation, there's a lot of individualistic mindset. So when people even find an opportunity that they can share with others or they can share with their friends, they want to take advantage of the opportunity alone, because people like being hailed. People like being the rich people in their group. People like being, oh, I'm the most important person in my group and all of that. But that's a problem, because you then realize that if you should make it, right, whether you should make it on the financial level, on the relationship level, and all of that, you find that you are alone and your friends can't relate to what you're going through because you did not carry them along. So again, it could be either way. Now, if you decide that you're going to let your friends carry you along on a bad path, the two of you are going to go down together. If your friend says, oh, let's go and rob a store or let's go and do something bad, right? If you go and do it, you're going down together. What if you could actually tell your friend that let's go and do something good? It means you're going up together instead of going down together. So if you do things alone, if you take decisions that you feel they are good alone, you end up going to the top, but you're alone at the top. And you realize that in our African dispensation, because of the fact that people are part of an extended family, and sometimes you find that one person moves abroad or one person gets a good job or a good income, and everybody's problem in the family is laid on the person because that's the only financially stable person in the family. What if the person could say that, okay, I can't take everybody's problem. I can't take care of the whole family for the next 20, 30 years. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to make sure I take care of one person, build the person up, the person also gets a job. Then you also come back and pick one person in the family and start helping out. It means that in the next 2, 3, let's say even at most 5 years, you are building one person a year. It means you would have built 5 people. Now you can share the burden and you are not alone. And you're not the only one who has made it. But if you're saying that, oh, I see this opportunity, I don't tell my friends about it, I don't tell my family about it, I'm the only one doing it, then you become the only person at the top and you're everybody's, and you're lonely because other people can't relate. Everybody just feels like you have it and you're supposed to share it with us and all of that. So again, that is one of the things that you should look at when you're networking to create wealth. And I wanted to explain, networking to create wealth in itself. When we talk about wealth, I mean, wealth is not just money, right? It's not just about having money. Wealth is basically about having all the resources that you need at every point in time to be able to have a comfortable life. So we can have social wealth, we can have religious wealth, we can have monetary wealth, we can have relationship wealth and all of that. So, like I said in the beginning, when you're networking to create wealth, it means that you're networking consciously to be able to make sure that at every point in time, your needs in terms of all the resources you need at a certain point in time are fulfilled. So, like the example I gave in the beginning, if I need something done in the media space, I have a network. Mamia is there, you know, even if I have to pay her, and networking to create wealth is not about taking advantage of people or, getting stuff for free. If Mamia's main job that she's doing is being a media consultant, I should be able to say that, okay, I can go to Mamia and ask her how much she charges and I'll pay for it so that she can then do what I want to do. But it's easy for me because I already know you, I already know your work. I already know what you're capable of doing. I don't now have to talk to 100 media people trying to do an advert and sieve them and all of that. Even when you network, relationship wise, you can be friends with somebody who says, oh, one of my cousins, he's single, or one of my sisters, she's single. I want you to meet her. That's networking because you then are introduced to the person through your networks. Spiritual things, people who believe in all sorts of spiritual things, they can say, okay, I've met this pastor or I've met this prophetess who knows this and that, and connect you to the person. And maybe it could work out for you if you believe in those things. So again, you should be conscious about it, like I said, because you can't just definitely leave it like, oh, well, the current people in my life, maybe somebody will introduce me to somebody, because sometimes it may never happen, right? And I always try to give the example of public figures. Like in Ghana, we have our own Kwame Despite. And before people knew about, there's this guy called Ernesto Sapon. And I know people don't know about him. I think recently people are beginning to find out who he is. But he's one of the like close friends, like, within the circle of Despite. And from the information that, comes out, they've been friends for a long time. They've been business partners. That's how they came up with all their business ideas. They have needs for food. They have specialized water. They are doing great. And people admire Kwame Despite and his family in Ghana. And you realize that, they've built this friendship where they support each other, they help each other, and all of that. And even if you look in the foreign world, people like Bill Gates, they have certain type of people in their circle. So Bill Gates, they are connected to the royal family. And sometimes people just think it's because they have money, but sometimes it's not just because of the money. It's because they've been able to build these friendships on a certain level, right? If you look at even the Prince, I think Prince William of England, he met his wife through some sort of networking groups, right? If you look at Mark Zuckerberg, he met his wife through, I think, some party or some networking groups or something like that. So it's not just about having all these superficial networks like, oh, I know 100 people on Facebook, right? And I'm very active on Facebook. And before I even became active on Facebook, I used to think of myself as an antisocial person. But through Facebook, I have come to meet people, and I've met people off Facebook, like physically off Facebook, who have now become like one of my closest people, more than people I've known my entire life, because you realize that you share common ideas, you feel comfortable in each other's space. If you need resources for something you're doing, I do mentorships for children, I do career coaching for children, life coaching, and you realize that there are ideas that you are carrying that, they are not very good ideas. So somebody will tell you, oh, why don't you do it this way? Or why don't you do it that way? So when you're networking to create wealth, aside the fact that you are networking to create money, right? You also need working to create that social capital. You also need working to create those relationship capital. I have an investment club, and if I want to just speak a little bit on the financial side, how am I using the investment club to create wealth? So I decided that on Facebook, I made an announcement on Facebook and said, I need about 10 people every month. We are going to contribute money and
Mm-hmm.
we'll invest the money into something, a business idea.
Mm-hmm.
So when I floated the idea, initially me, I thought that, oh, this thing, people will not be interested. I had over 100 people contacting me that they want to be part of this. So we started this in April. And so far, we've raised a lot of money. In fact, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, wow, like people have money, right? But what if I didn't network with these people? What if I didn't talk to these people? What if I wasn't conscious about the fact that, you know what, I want to network with people so that we can create money together, so that we can save money together, so that we can invest together? What if I hadn't consciously tried to find people for these ideas? I wouldn't have made the money I'm making now, right? So in networking to create wealth, you're not just creating monetary wealth, but you're creating social capital, you're creating relationships, and even, people after you can come and benefit from these things. In Ghana, they claim that the rich people are marrying only the rich people. Who should they marry? Just come and pick the poor people that marry. It's because they created, networks where they want to keep the wealth in their family. They want to keep the relationships in their family. They want to keep the social capital. So you also need to build that. And like I said, you can start with your own squad. When I started my investment club, I have two different investment clubs. So one of them is a higher amount and one of them is a lower amount. So there are people who said, I don't want to be part of the higher amount because I can't afford it. But at the same time, they are able to find other people who can afford the smaller amount and be comfortable with each other and grow their money together. And there are people who say, okay, me, I can afford the bigger amount, so I want to be part of that. So they also find another group of people that they are comfortable together, they can grow together, they can save together, all of that. So you find people, and you find people in the group who have very sharp ideas. And there are people who don't have any idea at all. So imagine that the people who don't have any idea, all the people around them in their current circle, they are not idea generators. So every time they have money, they don't know what to do with it. And then you get into a circle where there are people who have great ideas. And so you realize that you're still able to benefit from the business investment ideas without necessarily having to do anything. You are benefiting just because you consciously decided to be part of a certain network. And that's where, networking to create wealth comes in. You don't just leave it to chance. You have to be conscious about it.
So, what suggestion can you give to the young ones to help them build their network as they grow?
Okay. When I coach children, one of the things that I definitely always present to them is that you have to build strategic friendships. When you're younger, like I said, your brain is not fully matured. So you don't, your friendships are based on association. So for instance, you're normally friends with people in your school alone, or even people in your class alone. But one of the things I realized, and coming off, going to secondary school and coming off, after university, I told myself that when I went to Wesley Girls High School, I wish I had made other friends apart from my class, right? Because there are people that they're doing stuff in different spaces. And now that we're growing up and we're building our careers, you realize that sometimes you need something, maybe you need something at Ministry of Finance. And I work in the finance space. So I work as a consultant. I'm on advisory, advising people about finance and accounting stuff. And sometimes maybe you need something at Ministry of Finance. If you go through our year group, you realize that somebody knows somebody at Ministry of Finance or somebody works at Ministry of Finance, and you can just put it there. Now, my people, I think most recently, what people have put there, who knows somebody as registrar and accountant general, registrar general, or controller and accountant general. Somebody will say, backstage me, because they know somebody there. So
Mm.
that's the kind of networks that you have. For me, I tell the young people that you need to let your friendships be strategic. So you can say that, yes, my current association is the people in my class or the people in my church or the people in my neighborhood, but I'm going to go beyond that. And maybe if you're doing, let's say, if you're in school and maybe let's say they are doing a talent show, or you're at church and they're doing a talent show, and maybe someone comes to sing or rap, the person is not in your class, the person is not in your group or anything. You can then say, hey, listen, me, I also want to do some. Then why don't you befriend the person?
Mm.
Of course, people will think, oh, you're just, trying to associate with a person just because they're famous and all of that. No, you need to be conscious and also define the reason why you're building this strategic friendship, right? Before I decided that I wanted to become a chartered accountant, I had already decided I didn't want to be a doctor, even though my parents were pushing for me to be a doctor. But at the time, I didn't even know that I wanted to become a chartered accountant until I went to Wesley Girls and I met a group of girls in my class. And they talked about the fact that, oh, we can write ACCA, we can write ICA, oh, we can work here, we can do that. Then I started understanding the path that I wanted to take at the time. What if I hadn't consciously been friends with these girls? Would I have been able to find
Been
my
able to
path?
find my path.
So it's important that you build that kind of consciousness. So I tell the young people, be very strategic about your friendships. The commonest thing I tell them is, even when you're writing, and I coach them, I think GSS2 and GSS3, and then SS2 and SS3, and I say that when you're about to write your final exam, be very strategic about your friendships. If you realize that in class there's this particular girl or boy who is always first in maths, or understands the concept of maths, but you are struggling with mathematics, why not befriend the person and say, can you tutor me for 1 hour every day?
Mm.
Even if the person is not your friend, because sometimes the person is not your friend. In every class or every church, everybody has their group and all of that. But what if the person was not your friend, right? When I was in senior high school, my friends and I formed a group we called Jammy. And Jammy was Jennifer, Achaa, Matilda, Millicent, and Yvonne.
Mm.
So I was very good with English and integrated science. So we will set class and say that today a chance should teach integrated science. This person who Matilda was good at elective maths, so Matilda would teach us elective maths. Somebody would teach social studies, somebody would teach business management and all of that. And we were being strategic about it because we knew what our weaknesses were. I didn't like elective maths so much. So I realized that okay, Matilda can teach us elective maths. So why don't we form a so we had a group, and that is strategic building because you also count on the strength of everybody in the group and say that in my investment club right now, I am a big idea generator and I go around and look for the businesses that we can invest in. I'm the one who is assessing the businesses that we can invest in. Somebody is the one, people go on Facebook and look for opportunities and they'll be sending this to a group and saying, I've seen this opportunity, but me, I don't know how to assess it. So somebody should assess it for us. That is my strength. Somebody's strength is going to look for the opportunities for us to invest in. Somebody's strength is checking treasury bill rates every day and saying that today treasury bill is high, let's go and invest there quickly. Then we run there with some money, right? So you leverage on each other's strengths. That's why I say that it's not a sycophantic relationship and it's not a bootlicking relationship because when you're networking, you're looking for what is this person's strength and what is this person's strength and what can this person do that I can't do.
Mm.
Quickly, Friday, I went to meet a doctor friend of mine. I was actually not well, so he was bringing me the COVID test. And he told me about this idea that he has, right? To set up some sort of clinics and all. And when he was speaking, I was just so excited about the idea. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do all the financial calculations and the financial model. And he said, yes, but that's why I'm telling you the idea. Because I can't do the financial calculations and the financial models. He would come in with, okay, buy stethoscope, buy this, buy that. But I have the strength of being able to say that we can raise funds from here, we can crowd fund, we can raise debt, we can raise equity, we can do this. So again, we are coming together to do that idea, but we are networking on that idea because he knows his strength, I know my strength, and then we work together and we make the money and then we create the wealth for everybody. So you have to look at it like that. Yeah.
So, at what age should you be deliberate about your network?
Hmm. I would advise anytime from 12 if you can teach children how to be deliberate, right? Now, of course, it's a process, so you can't definitely say you've grasped the idea at once. Because even me, as at now, I'm still learning, how to navigate. But I think from the age of 12, if you can teach children to say that definitely be kind to everybody, have empathy, have sympathy, don't insult people, don't be mean to people. But you can start telling them that, okay, if you want to pursue this kind of career, or if you want to have this kind of lifestyle, right? And children observe a lot.
Mm.
So normally a child will say, if a child has seen someone being a doctor, they will say, me, I want to be a doctor, right? Or they'll say, oh, me, I want to be in the media space. I want to be like the people on the TV, the people on YouTube. Then you can start saying that, okay, then, hey, does any of your friends want to be the same thing, right? Or does any of your friends talk about doing the same thing? Then you can start teaching them that, okay, if this your friend wants to be that, then try and talk to them so that you can find out. But you can start teaching them on a low level. But on an adult level, I would say that anytime from the age of the time that you enter university, so at whatever age you enter the university, that is where you need to start being conscious. Because right after university, you are confronted with the career decision, you're confronted with the economic management decision, you're confronted with the finances decision, you're confronted with building social capital. Sometimes people get married, relationships after university. So for me, consciously, from the time that you enter university, you need to start finding people who are within similar mindsets that you have. You need to, and it's not just about church, spiritual, religious stuff. You need to find out, okay, on a business level, what does this person think? On a political level, what does this, because we understand that politics is also a big problem, especially in our part of the world, where people are stuck on certain ideologies, stuck on party colors, and people are not having mindset discourses that, why should we bring this party into power? Are we holding them accountable? Are we holding them responsible? What are they doing for the country? What did they say they will do and they haven't done? And all of that. So you have those conversations, right from university, start figuring out what kind of networks should I be building? And what kind of networks have I built up until now? How do I modify those networks? How do I move those networks forward? The new networks I'm about to build, how do I navigate and all of that? So for me, I think if I had known this from level 100, be very conscious, like be very, very conscious. And even just as a funny story, not so funny story, they say um, Mark Zuckerberg started Facebook from his dorm room.
Mm.
And when he started Facebook, apparently there were people, like he had friends that he told them that, oh, this is what I'm doing. Do you want to join me? And apparently some joined him and some did not. And today, those who joined him, they are millionaires and billionaires.
Um, Another network problem. Hello.
Built. Yeah.
Oh, sorry guys. Um, we'll reconnect again. Yay, she's back.
Yes. Okay, I'm back.
Okay, so we have to be deliberate on the people we bring in our space. Um, People argue that building deliberate network is about feeding off the other. What's your opinion on that?
So, like I said, there are people who are leeches. Okay. So a leech is some type of animal that it sticks onto you and then it sucks your blood. And there are people who are leeches and they only network because they want to be leeches. They want to feed off of the other person. So sometimes they want to feed off of you. It's not just your money. They want to feed off of the social capital you have. So they know that maybe people, a lot of famous people, a lot of rich people. So they just want to be in your space to feed off of that. There are people who come to feed off of your money, right? They are always trying to get you to buy them stuff or take from you and all of that. There are people who come to be sycophants, trying to praise you all the time so that you will do them favors and do favors. That's not networking. That's not what networking is. Um, and you again, as you are trying to consciously network as an individual, you need to be conscious of these people because, like I said, networking is benefiting off of each other. helping each other grow. Don't title it. So you're feeding off of the strength and weaknesses off of each other and helping each other and supporting each other. So networking is definitely not about feeding off of people or being leeches and bootlicking and sycophancy. Definitely not about that. You need to be conscious as you begin to network and see that if that's what people are doing to you, then you need to drop that and figure it out properly. If it's not a beneficial relationship, a mutually beneficial relationship, you need to drop it there and then. Yeah.
You need to drop it there and then. Guys, we need to be intentional with the people we keep around.
Exactly.
Be intentional. And then bear in mind that at every stage in your life, you meet new people. You won't be able to carry everyone with you, but be intentional the people you choose to carry along the journey. Can you please share your final words with us?
So for my final words, what I would say is that just the word that you use, you have to be intentional. Remember that you can't save everybody. Even Jesus Christ could not save everybody. Even Muhammad could not save everybody, no matter how much they tried and they died and they did all of that. People still say, I will not choose this path. So you can't save everybody. You can't carry everybody along. So be intentional and say that at every point in my life, if these are the people I need in my life, I have to make sure that I have these kind of people in my life. For maybe every month, your purpose can change every day, every month, every year. If you realize that this year, this is my purpose, maybe I want to give back to society. Maybe this year, I want to start my YouTube channel. Maybe this year, I want to complete one course. That is the path you've chosen that year. Who are the people who need to be in your circle to help you achieve that goal? If your friends also have a goal, are you the kind of person that should be in their circle to help them achieve that goal? So every point in time, try and assess and say that, well, this is why I am now in life. This is the type of people like them, or I can fish with my network and find them. Or if I meet new people, where do I want to place the people? Do I want to put them in acquaintance? Do I want to get them to know them on a deeper level to find out what their strengths are and what my strengths are and how I can help them and how they can help me and all of that? And definitely don't be a leech. Definitely don't be a leech and always build good networks to create your wealth. That's my last words. Thank you.
Thank you. Build good networks to create your wealth. Guys, thank you so much. Um, Miss Achaa, thank you so much for joining us one more time. You always come and just drop the information on us like a bomb, boom, and then you leave us thinking. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you. Have a blessed day. I hope you've learned something. Don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed week. Have a blessed month. Enjoy your day. Till we come your way again. See you. Bye.
Bye.